Welcome back to Who Do I Start Football. Today's video is going to be a week 3 preview. We're going to do something similar to last week, except we're going to be doing top threes this week instead. I'm back with my co-host.
What's up, guys? We're going to start doing the top threes for all your positions for fantasy this week. Best players to start. So we'll get right into it. Let's start with quarterback. Number one, they have listed Josh Allen at Miami this week. What do you think?
24.2 projected fantasy points. I think Josh Allen and the Bills are looking unstoppable right now. Miami's defense is strong, but they gave up a lot of points to the Ravens last week, even though they won. I think Josh Allen will have another good game.
Yeah, I agree. 24.2 is a lot, but Josh Allen's looked amazing. They already played the Rams, who has they have a good defense also. So it's not like he hasn't faced a good defense yet. So yeah, I expect that he's going to have another good game this week. I could see it going over 24, even though that's a high number.
Yeah. Number two, the Fantasy Pros has Jalen Hurts against Washington. This is a good matchup. 23.4 is high for Jalen Hurts. I would honestly take the under here just solely for the aspect of I'm still not sold on Jalen Hurts' arm. He runs the ball great. He does great in fantasy, but I think there are games where Jalen Hurts just doesn't throw the ball well.
Yeah, I very much agree with that. He does get a lot of points from using his legs, which is why he's a good fantasy quarterback. Not sold on the arm either. They are playing Washington, but he ran a lot last week on Monday. So we'll see what happens. 23 is a lot, though. I think he's going to go under as well.
All right. Number three, we got Patty Mahomes against your Colts, projected 22.5. I'm going to have to take the over. I own Mahomes, as you know, in 2 leagues. And the Chiefs have a really good offense. The Chargers defense last week kind of shut the Chiefs down fantasy wise. Like Mahomes, I think, had 17 points. I think he'll do better this week against the Colts.
Yeah, I agree, especially if the Colts defense keeps looking bad like they are now. Mahomes is just going to run all over them. Trevor Lawrence did last week, so no reason that Pat Mahomes wouldn't do the same thing this week.
Yep. One person I think might sneak into this top three instead of Jalen Hurts. I like Lamar against New England. New England didn't look very good against the Dolphins in week 1. And personally, I didn't think they looked that great, even though they won in week 2. So I think Lamar is poised to have another big game here.
Yeah, I would throw in even Joe Burrow to actually have a good game against the Jets this week.
Yeah, bounce back game.
Bounce back game for him. I think that he would do it. He needs it. The Bengals need it. So
yeah,
I'm gonna throw him in there too.
All right, moving on to running backs. We've got Christian McCaffrey at number 1, projected 20.2 fantasy points, matched up against the Saints. I honestly think he'll be right around this mark, maybe a little bit lower. I think it'll depend on if he gets in the end zone or not.
Yeah, I agree. Like I've said before, I'm not really sold on Baker yet. So I think, they might up his workload a little bit this week. McCaffrey, that is. I agree. If he gets into the end zone, I can see him even going over this. It really depends on, how many passes he catches. I'm saying that for a full PPR league.
Yeah, definitely. Pass volume's big. I'm not confident in Baker's arm too much. So for them to get check down passes is not unrealistic. McCaffrey's always been a good pass catcher. I think he'll do well this week.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, we've got Jonathan Taylor going up against the Chiefs. He's projected 19.8 points. I think he's going to have a better game this week. I think he'll go over. I think he's going to get in the end zone at least once.
Yeah. The Colts need to give him the ball more. After last week, he didn't get that many carries. So I think they'll be giving him the ball a lot more. I think he's going to reach the end zone. They're going to rely on him a lot more, I think, now that they're kind of shaky on Matt Ryan. So I can see it going over that.
Yeah, I think Kansas City is a relatively good matchup. I would say KC's defense has looked better this year, but they're still not like one of those top tier defense like the Bills who will just
Mhm.
shut you down.
Yep.
Yeah, number 3, we got Saquon going up against the Cowboys. He's projected 19.1 fantasy points. I think this is a pretty good matchup, but I don't think that this is going to be a super high scoring game. The opportunities to get in the end zone, I think, are going to be kind of limited for both teams. I think this one's going to end somewhere around like 21-17, something like that. So I don't think there's going to be that many opportunities offensively.
Yeah, the Giants haven't scored a lot of points so far, which minimizes the touchdowns you'll get with Barkley. But they are giving him the ball a lot and checking down to him a decent amount. 19.1, I think that's a little high. I agree. I think it's going to be a low scoring game versus Dallas, who has looked, not great. So,
Yeah,
uh, I mean, the Giants have a chance to go 3-0, but as far as Saquon, I'm going to say under 19.1.
fair enough. One running back I think may squeak into this top 3 here is DeAndre Swift. He got he had pretty good fantasy production last week and he barely even played. He played 50% of the snaps essentially. He normally plays much more. I've read practice reports from today. They held him out of practice, but he's feeling better according to the coach. So I think that's good news for him. I think he'll go over 17 points this week and he might sneak his way into the top 3.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think a sleeper that I have would be Leonard Fournette. Um, Tampa Bay doesn't really have many receivers right now, especially with
Yep.
Mike Evans being suspended. You might see his workload go up a decent amount. He's projected 16.7 against Green Bay's defense, hasn't looked amazing. So I think that he's a sleeper for that.
Yeah. My only concern for Tampa Bay really this season is that offensive line. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just not what it used to be. I've said it in the past videos. I think that may hold Tampa's offense back this week, but I don't think that's a bad pick because Green Bay's defense hasn't looked fantastic so far.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, moving on to wide receiver. Number 1, Cooper Kupp. I don't think you can go wrong with this. Cooper Kupp is probably a lock to be in the top 2 or 3 receivers every single week. He's projected 23.3. I think he goes over.
Yeah, I mean, I think he goes over also. It's Cooper Cup. I don't even understand how he gets so many receptions every game, but Stafford loves him, and he's a great route runner. He's always open, and
Yep.
he loves to score. So, yeah, I'm going to say over with this
Yeah, Stafford is always looking for him. I mean, and especially in the red zone, they feed Cooper Kupp the ball in the red zone.
all the time.
Number 2, this seems like another obvious pick. Justin Jefferson against the Lions. He's projected 21.8. I mean, like I said earlier, I think the Vikings are really focused on passing the ball this year and getting the ball to Justin Jefferson. So I think he's going to have a bounce back game this week.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that Kirk Cousins has a better game than last week because that was not good. And I think that he will. I think he'll find Justin Jefferson. I mean, elite receiver. He's always open, and Kirk can throw to him. So I think he'll be good. Detroit's defense isn't horrible, but nothing crazy. So 21.8. I'll say over for that if he scores.
Yeah. He could get to that number even if he doesn't score just on volume.
Yeah,
Like him catching 11 passes for 100 plus yards is certainly not unrealistic for him.
that's very true.
Yeah. Devontae Adams at number 3 matched up against the Titans. He's projected 19.7. I'm going to go over. The Titans looked really bad last week against the Bills. Granted, it's the Bills, but Stephon Diggs went off. I think Devontae Adams will probably try and do the same.
Yeah, I agree. Last week, Derek Carr didn't find Devontae Adams that much. I think he only had 2 or 3 catches. One of them happened to be a touchdown, though, so that kind of saved owners of him. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we saw what Stephon did against Tennessee. I agree. I think Devontae is going to have it. Maybe not 3 touchdowns, but over 19.7.
Yeah. I'm thinking a touchdown, 100 plus yards. 7+ catches for him.
Yeah, I like those numbers.
One wide receiver that I think might be a little underrated this week is Debo, projected 15.4. Jimmy G's back in at QB. They have a connection together. They love running the ball to Debo. He gets passes. I think he's going to go over 15.4. I'm looking for him to get into the end zone this week.
Yeah, I like that, especially with Jimmy G back, like you said. Debo, they have a good connection.
Yeah.
Sleeper for me at receiver, I would probably say, sleeper, Mike Williams to be in the top 3. Mike Williams has just been going off recently. Herbert loves him. I think that they're just going to have another great week together. He's projected at 15. I think he easily gets over that, in my opinion. So yeah, that's my sleeper.
Moving on to tight end. Number 1, we've got my boy Travis Kelce. He's probably my favorite player at this point. He's projected 17.4. You got 10 last week in PPR. I don't know. I have to pick over for him every time. I think, he's the GOAT tight end.
It's really tough to not pick the over for Kelce because he just does it week in and week out. Like Mahomes loves him. He's always open.
He scores.
He scores all the time. Yeah, against the Colts defense that hasn't looked good in the first 2 games, I would probably have to say over as well, even though 17.4 is a lot.
Yeah. Mark Andrews at 16.6 against the Patriots. Like I said, I thought Lamar is going to go off that this week. So if Lamar goes off, that usually means Mark Andrews is going to have a good game. Mark Andrews had a great game last week. I think it's going to be back-to-back.
Yeah, I agree. Against New England, I think that Baltimore is going to look to bounce back after losing in that dreadful way against the Dolphins last week. So Mark Andrews is just, really good. They have a great connection, him and Lamar. They always seem to find him open. So I'm going to say, yeah, over on that one.
Yep. Number 3, we got Darren Waller matched up against the Titans. He's projected 12. I might even go under here, under or even. I don't think he's going to go over. I don't think Carr really looks for Darren Waller like he used to. And I don't know. I just don't think Darren Waller is going to be producing like he did in years past.
Yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. It seems like he's been looking. Now that they added Devontae, for him and Renfro has been getting a lot of attention actually.
Yeah.
12's not that high though. I don't know. It really depends. I could see this going either way. Honestly, I'm just going to stick with around 12 because I really don't know with him.
Yeah, fair enough. One person I think might sneak into the top 3, potentially replace Waller, is Zach Ertz. Him and Kyler connected quite a few times last week. He caught a touchdown in week 1. I think that connection's really good between him and Kyler. The Cardinals are a little limited at receiver options with D-Hop out. I think getting Ertz the ball is a good idea for them. They're going up against the Rams, who have a pretty solid defense. Honestly, the Rams haven't looked great so far this year defensively, giving up 27 to the Falcons and obviously getting killed by the Bills in the first game of the season. But I still believe in their defense. They have good players.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. For my sleeper, it's not a top 3, but Dawson Knox, I think he's going to overplay his projection of 9.3. They're just Dawson Knox is just if Gabe Davis is still out, he's the second person on the team that Josh Allen's going to go to instead of Stephon. He hasn't been as productive this year as last year, but I still see him putting up some numbers this week over 9.3.
Yeah, Miami's got a good defense, so I feel like they might have to spread the ball out a little bit more this week. So That's not a bad prediction. I like Dawson Knox going over 9.1. I mean, he catches a touchdown pass, he's gonna go over that, obviously. All right.
Any other
That'll
sleepers?
I don't know. I I really think DeAndre Swift. I mean, I already said him, but I think he's gonna have a really good week.
Yeah, I agree with that. For wide receiver, I'm also gonna say Amon Ra, just because I mean he predicted 18.1, but he's shown that he's just an amazing receiver. Jared Goff loves to pass to him. He scores. I mean, he's been running the ball now. He just had like a 50-yard run or something like that last week. So, yeah, I think that he's going to do good as well.
Yeah, and just to be clear, we know none of these players are actual like sleeper picks. We just think they might outperform their projection.
Yeah,
and get into that top 3 in the week.
Yeah, no, not a sleeper. Amon Ra is a set and leave. You don't got to worry about him anymore.
Yeah, same thing with DeAndre Swift. We know not really sleepers, just someone we think will outperform their projection.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that'll do it for this week's video. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.